We have so many goals to talk about this week in the Serie A that we might run out of time here on the Calcio Guys. Adriano, Gianni, I'm Nicholas. Follow us on all your favorite podcasting platforms, social media, the Calcio Guys. Guys, how's it going?
Johnny is not too good, I don't think, but me, I'm not too bad. Capoeista, Cineva, right? We're at the top right now, but Johnny had a rough weekend, so I don't know.
In all sports, I've had a rough weekend. Let's just besides the Patriots.
I was going to say, didn't the Patriots win?
Yeah, besides the
Pats
Pats.
look good. The Pats look good. Drake May's the answer, baby.
Yeah, no, honestly, well, I've seen enough. Welcome back, Tom Brady 2.0, Dynasty 2.0.
Calma.
You might be able to put Drake May as a striker for Juventus, and he'd score more goals than
Jesus
the three-headed donkeys that we have now.
Yeah.
But very interesting Serie A match day. How many draws were there? 5 draws, 2 1-0 games.
Serie A is back.
2-0
5
games.
draws
and 2 in 1 game. 4-0-0 draws, which is just insane. Especially to start off the week coming back from the international break. And then Lecce Sassuolo, Pisa Verona, both 0-0. Atalanta Lazio 0-0, and Genoa Parma 0-0 with a beautiful save by the goaltender Nick Suzuki from Parma right at the end.
That guy's a legend, Suzuki.
I don't think Adri caught that.
Yeah, Nick Suzuki. I heard. The Habs are 5-2 all of a sudden. This guy's talking.
Listen. The highest scoring game was the Milan Fiorentina game, 2-1. We might as well start with that because 3 goals in that one. Milan flies right into first place in the Serie A table. 2 goals from Leao, coming back down 1-0 after a goal from Gosens. Leao obviously scoring that 89th minute penalty. But guys, Milan is interesting because look, both me and Adriano predicted Milan to win the Scudetto at the beginning of the season. I know it's early, and for the first few weeks, it did look a bit rough, but they've kind of just continued climbing up the standings. So far after eight match days, and in a way, it's also Inter and Napoli kind of following themselves. Obviously, Napoli as they lost this weekend against Torino. But for Milan, it seems like they're getting the groove under Allegri, and now with Leao scoring again, right now it's the hottest team, and it reminds me of Napoli from last season, where they don't have any other competition to worry about until they play in the Coppa Italia, which they already have, but no Champions League.
Yeah, it helps when you're playing once a week, right, guys? I think that was the biggest key point that we made, in the preseason or beginning of the season prediction show that we had. It seemed to be like, it kind of felt like almost a carbon copy of, like you said, Nick, the Napoli season last year, and under Conte, and but listen, it helps, right? And when you have a manager, Antonio Conte, Max Allegri, where these guys can get the most out of their team for 1 game a week, and if you can't get up for 1 game a week, guys, there's a problem within the squad. Allegri has been able to kind of solidify that for Milan so far. Defensively, they look a lot better. Offensively as well, I would say. Getting a guy like Rafael Leao back on the score sheet, especially at home, doing it in front of your home faithful, home crowd, I think is huge. I think it's the first goals he scored at home since, I think it was like the end of the season last year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a while. It's much needed. And listen, this was a weekend where a lot of the direct competition around Milan were, the results were mixed. Obviously, I think the bigger result was the Inter one, if I'm not mistaken. They had picked up maximum points. So, the Napolis of the world, they fumble. Roma as well. So, it was there for the taking, and it would have seemed like, playing on one of the later games of the weekend and kind of already seeing the results by other teams around you, you would think, okay, here we go. We're gonna go and we're gonna go fumble this result. But luckily for Milan fans, it wasn't to be. They managed to crawl their way back into the match, and the goal that was scored by Gosens, just, I mean, people were going to say a bit of defensive error. Mania should have caught that. It kind of bangs off of Gabia. Gosens is the only one in the area. He slots it in. So listen, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's bound to happen. Those types of goals, especially when you're so close in the area there. So, what I liked is the response, because again, in seasons past, especially last season, under the two managers that we had, I think we would have it would have taken a lot to fight and get those 3 points when it mattered most, to go up top of the table by a point against, again, your direct rivals. So, I like the response. I like that Leao is got involved. The shot from outside the box. We don't usually see goals like that for Milan, but it kind of just rolling back the seasons for Leao in that moment particularly. And the penalty, I know was one that people kind of had mixed opinions about. Soft, not soft, shouldn't have been called, should have been called. Parisi, what are you doing? Kind of even putting yourself in the position to potentially get a penalty called on you. So listen, I was kind of a bit on the fence. I do think anywhere else on the pitch, it's probably a foul. I know in the box it's a bit of you know, um, riskier to kind of do an action like that, where he kind of try to, put his hand out into the face area, kind of try to pull him back. I know it was soft, but at the end of the day, you'll take that as a team. These bounces don't always go your way, and when they do, you have to take them and capitalize. And we saw the Pulisic miss on the PK last time around. He wasn't there, obviously, due to injury. Who would step up? You saw Fofana take the ball, and we're like, okay, maybe Fofana is going to take it. I wasn't sure if he was the next man up. I would have thought a guy like Modric would have stepped up and taken it, but it seems like Allegri kind of has his PK shooters, ready to go. And again, Fofana had the ball in his hands, and it was looking to be him, but he kind of, I don't know if he try to hold on to the ball as long as possible to finally give it to Leao, so there's no like real distractions. But it was what it was. Leao steps up, and luckily De Gea goes the wrong way, because I think that it was a good penalty. Don't get me wrong, like he fooled De Gea, but it could have been saved if De Gea was guessing the right way. I think there was a chance to save the shot. So we get away with one, if you will, and we take home the 3 points, go top of the table. And like you said, Nick, it's these building block of results that Milan hopefully can continue to do, because like we said in the opening show of the season, these matches that you again wake up for one game a week, you have to capitalize, because this is your window of opportunity to get that second star, to fight with Inter to try to continue on this back and forth of Scudetti, and obviously throw Napoli in the mix there. But I again, as a whole, I enjoyed the match. I think it was a bit of a stressful one, and seeing all the other results that you mentioned, Nick, coming after the international break is like, okay, here we go. This is going to be a snooze fest of a weekend. There was, I think we were saying it earlier, nine goals before the Monday game, but it was, I think, 11 total goals scored this weekend. So it wasn't the best advertisement for Serie A this weekend in terms of the goal department. But yeah, Milan was able to do it. And when you got top players on your team rolling on all cylinders, despite the injuries, because there was a lot of injuries that Milan had to face, losing a guy like Pulisic, Rabiot, obviously Stupinian wasn't there, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Kunku, like these guys were all banged up. They weren't ready to go, and Milan still managed to find a way with the team that they were able to field. So when your top players can step up, because Modric has, since he's put on the Milan shirt, has been absolutely class. Like, we already knew he was class, but it's incredible to watch on a more weekly basis, with like kind of a magnifying glass on his game, because we knew his game is a superior level just watching him in Europe and stuff and wherever he's been. But when he's on your team and you kind of watch him week in, week out, kind of like De Bruyne, you kind of pick up on these things that man, you just sit back and say, wow, it's just a joy to watch these types of players in our league, especially on our team. So, obviously Modric stepped up. I think Ricci filling in, finally getting some minutes with Gattuso in the stands was nice to see. Hopefully he gets a call up come November, but Bartasagi as well, stepping in left back, left wing back type of role. He's been an incredible filling guy, kind of sub when called upon, and he's still so young. I believe he's still 19 years old. So another young Italian that can hopefully progress. And like I said, Leao, when he steps up and he kind of takes the team and puts it on his back, you know the destination is only up, and the results are endless. So I'm hoping that he can continue to do that. Hopefully, roll back the years to his MVP season, and who knows, maybe Milan will be on their way to another Scudetto. But I think it's one game at a time, manage the expectations, and there's a trap game on Friday against Pisa, so we'll see what happens there.
Well, even
First versus 20th in that game.
Yeah. So it's a true Serie A trap game, Friday night football, Friday night lights, whatever you want to call it. It's one of those games on the calendar that you always kind of you can't look past, because it's one of those games where all the momentum is in your favor, and then they throw in a last place Pisa on your plate and see how you handle it. But I'm hopeful that some of the players that we kind of were banged up can kind of get back into the fold. I know it's going to be a little bit of a while for Pulisic and Rabiot, but the likes of RLC and Nkunku and potentially I think even Estupinian can get back in the fold, and we'll see what Friday holds.
Well, even Modric said it best, like in regards to Leao, this was the type of player that he's been waiting for, that the talent of Leao to finally come out and be the guy that he wants to target, and be able to finish up whatever he sets up for him. So Modric having high praise for Leao, just confirming that what a lot of us have said many times throughout the years, is especially back in the days when we had the whole right wing debate of Kvaratskhelia, Chiesa, and Leao, of who would you rather have and stuff. And I was always saying Leao's probably got the in terms of talent, can probably be the better talent player, even though Kvaratskhelia is phenomenally talented as the years gone by. But it would be stupid to have said that Leao didn't have that ginormous talent.
Yeah.
Ginormous. Wow. And Modric confirming it, and a player like Modric, I don't think anybody would contest his opinion about things, right, when it comes to footy. So, and hey, my Fanta Calcio was really appreciative of.
I was going to say,
I still lost by one total goal in the Fanta points, but that was because my nobody did anything this weekend. Vlahovic couldn't score anything. Thanks, Nick. I'm just messing around, but
don't blame me.
Yeah, no, I know. But
just one more.
Did you have Nico Paz though?
Huh? No. My opponent had Nico Paz. That's why I lost.
That's why he lost.
One other thing I just wanted to add there, talking about scoring goals. We have a striker obviously in our hands. Santi Jimenez, who I think, I've heard other content creators kind of speak about him, if it be Milan Weekly Podcast, that Milan podcast or whatever ones out there. And, I love the hustle. I love the work rate. I think he just needs to be able to score and just in general, because he's not really scoring at a rate where we would want to see our number 9 do. So, I like, because he's drawing the penalties, but he's not scoring. So if he can kind of do a bit of both, that would be greatly appreciated from signed all Milan fans. But it's these things that I'm hopeful for, and because we see it even across the league. Some of these strikers that are just not not getting the ball rolling in the goal department, and it's a weird one. You scratch your head with a guy like Santi Jimenez, who was scoring elsewhere. He comes to Italy, it's a bit of a rough time. We saw a guy like Jonathan David score, in numbers, right, in France, and you come to Italy, and it's a different story. So hopefully these types of strikers get on the score sheet, and because we for their respective teams, they need it. You can defend all you want, but you need to score as well to hopefully win the game. So
I like to offer a counterpoint to that. Like,
Go for
I think it depends on the manager, for being real. Because, for example, look at Lukaku. Mind you, some players can adapt, some players can't. But Lukaku, right? Even though when he came from the Prem to Serie A, he was still able to score, 15 plus, 20 plus goals. Look at De Ketelaere, for example. It depends on the manager. Like De Ketelaere with Milan wasn't able to do anything, but De Ketelaere at Atalanta is a different story.
But
I think
is that the player? Is that the you think that's the manager?
it's hard to tell, but I think because that's why the Catalera would probably be an instance of manager, probably or maybe like the terms of fit. Lukaku, I think it would also be manager too. I think as I'm discussing this, I feel like I lean more and more towards managerial styles. I feel like if the player is playing under the right manager, despite being in a different league, they would still be able to find a way to thrive or work in that league. Whereas, like it's hard, like pure talent, like obviously will always shine through no matter what. Like some players are just enormously talented that no matter which manager they have, they can still find a way to score. But in terms of the above average player or like the great striker, right? I think it really has to do with how the manager uses that striker. I don't think sometimes the players are able to just do it on their own. They need to have.
I think it's a balance of things, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it because a guy like Santi Jimenez, and listen, I want him to score. I want him to get going. I know he can provide that, in that department. But you're talking about different managers. Unfortunately, he's already went through 3 managers, right? In the span of 2 years.
So then, in that case, it'd probably be the player.
It's probably the player. I don't know, or the system, or what's around him. I find there's multiple factors. But like now that we're on the topic, and I kind of wanted to bring it up later when we would speak about Napoli, but we're on the topic now. A guy like Lorenzo Luca, right? Like this is a player that, I know is not, obviously not world class, but he's not a terrible player either. He's kind of in that, decent player range and sometimes above average. He has the measurables for sure, and I think he has some of the talent. But he comes to Napoli and he's kind of shooting blanks. And I saw a lot of fans kind of ripping into him, and it's like, well, again, to your point, Johnny, is it the player? Is it the system? Is it how he's being used? Is it who's around him? Like, in my opinion, for these types of debates, there's a multitude of factors that kind of go into it. So, and again, like a guy like Jonathan David that Nick has, spoke a lot about, right? Like, what's the issue with him? Like, why isn't he scoring? For all those reasons that we named, it's possible. Is it Tudor? Is it himself? Is it because of the players around him that are not providing? Like, it's a tough, question to answer in my opinion.
I feel like context is needed though. Like, for example, in the case of Lorenzo Luca, right? Like he got a lot of his goals in Serie B for Udinese, playing in Serie A. He got some goals in 30. He got like what it was like 12, 10.
Yeah, he had double digits last
in like
year
30 something games, right? So for players 25 and he played in Italy his whole life, right? Like obviously the Serie A B goals are Serie A B. It's a different story. It's different quality and whatnot. But in this case, I don't think Luca, I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's the player Conte thought he would be. Like, I don't think Luca is adapting to what Conte wants from him in that system. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like he's the like he's not a like nobody's a carbon copy of Lukaku, but like Lukaku's the profile of the striker that fits Conte's system. Luka isn't. Like he thought he was, but it seems like as the games are going by, it's not turning out to be true. In the case of David, I think it's way too early to make a call that it's either player or manager because maybe it is an adapting period for him. Maybe like he's not used to the style of Tudor that like the way he has to play, like sharing the spotlight with another striker and Vlahovic. Like it's there's for David, it's still too early to make a call on anything. In terms of Luka, that you could say that probably in this case, he's not the player that Conte thought he was, or maybe it's just he's not the player that could play that system, and he's not able to to actually work in that system. So I think it's more towards that. So that's I'll defend Jonathan David a little bit here. I think in his case, it's because he's splitting time with Dusan. It's a new league. Probably doesn't play. It's too much of a small sample size. Whereas Luka, if you look back at previous appearances in Serie A B, appearances in Serie A, like you have a better sample size of Luka in the league and stuff, and you could tell that like even now in Champions League, like he just wasn't like he's just not performing. He's just not the guy that we can call upon. I'm not saying I'm not saying he has to score every game, but he's got 1 goal in 7 appearances for Napoli, like as a striker, which good, nice, good for you. But we need more. Like it's not like as if you're an attacking mid or like a central mid where it's like you can get away with maybe 1 goal in 7 games because you're not getting that many opportunities. But when you're a striker, you need to be that guy that you need to pot in a few more.
I agree.
You're 25. I'm not going to argue that it's in a sense of like being a kid. The guy's 20. Yeah, he's still young. It's 25, but you're not a kid either. I think he's also been loaned out to other European clubs. I just can't recall right now off the top of my head. Let me actually just look it up.
It was on Ajax, right? I think. Was it Ajax?
Was it Ajax?
I think so.
So I mean, like Ajax is not a small club. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you've played for top tier clubs. You need to understand, like, if you're having issues with the pressure of playing at Napoli, especially like trying to help a team win a second Scudetto in a row, if it happens, which it's looking more and more unlikely. You need to have that killer instinct, or the capacity of like adapting to everything around you. So, yeah.
To the point of Jonathan David, I mean, the whole team is not scoring right now. It's not. Yeah, it's easy to come in and say, look, obviously we're going to defend David, right, as Canadians. But right now, all 3 strikers, including Valvich,
but you gotta call a spade. You gotta call a spade, though.
No, all of them are bad,
to.
but at the same time, the whole team is just not good right now. Look, guys, the last time Juventus scored a goal was on October 1st in the Champions League. That was against Villarreal. Last time they scored a goal in the Serie A was on September 27th, and that was Cabal in the 1-1 draw against Atalanta. They haven't won a game since beating Inter 4-3. That's 7 straight now without winning a game. Look, the striker situation, I think it comes down also creativity in the whole team. These, for me, between Vlahovic, David, and even Openda, they're 2 similar players that why do we have 3 of them? Especially the fact that they went out and got Openda after they got David. When they got Openda, I thought, okay, maybe they're gonna get rid of Vlahovic. That wasn't the plan, so now I have 3 of them. I know Openda's a bit different. He's could play more as a winger type, but David and Vlahovic, they're very similar. They're players, they need service. How many times have I said this? David's not a player that's going to create on his own. He needs service. And right now, I hate to say it, but Yildiz, we need more from Yildiz too. He's a player that, so far this season, it's fine stats. I think it's like 1 goal, 3 assists in the Serie A, 1 goal, 1 assist in the Champions League. But the teams he scored against, at least this season, okay, you got the 1 goal against Dortmund, you got the 1 goal against Inter, but other than that, those are his only 2 goals in this season in all comps. We need more from him. Even today, he did not look good. There was a couple of dribbles where he lost it easily along the touchline. Those are plays that he needs to do better. Sunday against Como, he was outplayed by Nico Paz. Look, Nico Paz, his goal, at the moment he got the ball in open space, I said it's over. And that's what the type of play we need from Kenan Yildiz. I know Yildiz is young. I know he has room to grow, and he's obviously a good player. But I think for Juve's attack to do well, he needs to take the next jump. Kind of like how he was playing at the beginning of the season. We kind of haven't seen that from him recently. Like I said, he hasn't scored since that Dortmund game on September 16th, and that was also the last time he got an assist. So it's been a month since he last had a goal contribution. Mind you, in that time, Juve hasn't scored, so it's kind of related to each other, right? I know I think he had a couple of goals for Turkey, but we need that Yildiz for Juve as well, and even like obviously Sunday's game was was frustrating to say the least. You know, we know Como's a good team, right? I think it's sixth place now in the Serie A. They might be higher. Yeah, sixth place, tied with Juve at 12. Juve's out of the top six right now. Like I said, 12 points, 3 wins out of 7. They lost their first game of the season on Sunday, followed up by a loss today against Real Madrid. You know, can't fault them too much for the Real Madrid game, but they were the better team in the first half. They had legitimate chances and they screwed it up. And every time they missed a chance, I told myself, this is just every missed chance for Juve is another chance for Real Madrid to get it back in the game. And that's exactly what happened. One mistake from Lloyd Kelly lets Bellingham free and he scores, capitalizes. Vlahovic missed a chance on a breakaway. Openda, I don't know what he was doing on that. It was beautiful setup, basically on a 2-on-2 with him and David. And he's kind of just chilling there. Like, you know, if he wants a tea and biscuits, whatever, he could go to England and ask for it, right? But that was, for me, it's just that clinical finishing that they're missing right now. I don't know what can change because I don't think it's a Tudor problem. I don't think it's nothing you could change right now. You need to go out and get different strikers or even more wingers. I find they don't have enough depth. They are kind of relying on Yildiz and Conceição in that regard. Obviously, Kostic doesn't play much. João Mario doesn't play much.
They brought in as the Grova guy. Does he do anything? The guy
again, he doesn't play much.
Doesn't play.
They're really relying on those two wingers in Yildiz and Conceição. So maybe they're just tired at this point, and we're early in the season. Yeah, well, you know, I know that Tudor has been experimenting with the two strikers, at least late in games. Again, we saw it against Como, we saw it against Real Madrid. But I think it's something I would like to see from the start, because if you're going to implement a new system, let the players get used to it from the start of the games. You can't rely on it 20 minutes to go and you need a goal. So I think right now with Juve, it's a whole system. You know, I'm not going to blame one person, but it's frustrating. Like, I haven't celebrated a goal in all month except for October 1st, which is insane.
It's crazy to think. Do you buy the Nick? Do you buy the rumors of letting go of Tudor and, you know, he's not going to eat the panettone? Like, do you put anything into that, or is that just very reactionary by Juventini?
I could believe it.
Yeah,
maybe not this early, but also it's not going to change anything. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
it's just going to be rinse and repeat. And you know what it's going to happen? It's going to be exactly like last season, where a new coach is going to come in, going to have his moves the next summer. Players that we got this summer are going to go exactly like what happened in the past year, right?
yeah.
So I know they recently signed Tudor to an extension, I think through 2027 or something, or 2028. Unless they're like bottom half of the table, I honestly wouldn't do anything right now. I think you just got to go for it. You just stick with it. Like,
realistically, it doesn't make sense either.
No,
like financially, it wouldn't. Like a team like Juventus who spent last year trying to come out of dire straits in terms of finances, you know, with moving of players, balancing the books and whatnot, to let go of a coach, especially one that you signed to an extension, and have to pay them and then pay a new coach. Like, financially, you're going to have to probably go for one of your academy coaches or somebody who's super cheap. And then that's basically Juventus saying, like, let's just hopefully throw a dart blindly at the dartboard and hopefully hit a bullseye, which if you're Juventus, I think financially you do not take that risk.
No, exactly.
Yeah, but I also think they were stupid to give him an extension, because for me personally, he doesn't move the needle for me. As a rival fan, he doesn't move the needle as a coach. For me, I don't know. Like, I don't think he eats a panettone. Like, I don't think he makes it to Christmas. Like, it's one of these things. If Juve want to save, I mean, I don't think the season's over. Obviously not. It's still very early. But if you wanna, you know, hopefully kind of, you know, move the needle a bit. And again, I'm not sure who's available current day. I know I saw the Palladino rumors. You see other rumors. They're still hoping for Zidane, which I don't think he's coming. I don't know what you do. In my opinion, they were a bit foolish to give him the extension, to put that investment into him when let's face it, I don't know if he's the long-term solution or plan for this team. So, because again, for me, he doesn't move the needle. He's not a manager that's gonna. I know he has the history with Juventus. I know he knows what it takes to win a Juventus. I get all that, but for me, managerial wise, it doesn't wow me as a fan, and I can just imagine being sorry, as a rival fan. I can just imagine if I was a true fan.
And honestly speaking, I like to personally believe that Juventus made an error by letting go of Giuntoli. Like I think Giuntoli was the guy to really, he had a long-term vision. He is a Juventino through and through. He was a guy that like a lot of people were very quick to like criticize when the guy had to make tough decisions to try to eventually get Juventus back to its financial superiority of a club. But with that mutual agreement, I think it was in like this summer. I forget when it was this summer, but it was, like that doesn't help. I think like he was actually a good financial director, and I know he's the one who gave Tudor the extension, but but now you lose the guy who had the project with Tudor, and now Tudor himself is just, like I don't have my liaison in terms of balance, like getting the players that I need, knowing the finances of the club and whatnot, and trying to find, because Giuntoli like was there in Napoli, and I know De Laurentiis has a great part in that too, but you can argue that Giuntoli was also a key factor in helping Napoli become the competitive club that it is today. So I think that like that's also an underrated thing to look at right now, oh my god, under the radar, that's the word I was looking for, underrated, under the radar factor in this whole discussion, because
Forget Giuntoli. They fucked up by getting rid of Marotta. Never mind. If
oh yeah, but
we're following-
that's a long time coming,
no,
right?
but still, you want to call a spade a spade? They fucked up there. They let him go to a direct rival. It's incredible.
Maybe
For me-
Marotta missed the signature line with his lazy, and I'm kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. He probably signed on the wrong line. That's fair, but he didn't see it. But still, you can't let him walk.
For me, the mistake was letting go of Allegri in 2024. Straight up,
Yeah,
like
that's another one.
he took them through the thick and thin, through a period where they had all those penalties, the points, financial trouble. And sure, he wasn't Allegri of old. They weren't going to win the Scudetto under him, but they're not winning the Scudetto now. How much better are they now versus the end of 2024 after winning the Coppa Italia? Zero. Probably not in the minus from that, right? Yeah. And so, guys, how many times have I said it? It's with Juve every year, it feels one step forward. We win the summer Scudetto, straight up. We all have all these fancy moves, whatever, these guys you want to play with on FIFA. And then you go out on the pitch and nothing ever gets done. It's the same. It's rinse and repeat, right? So this weekend game against Lazio, another test. Lazio's been struggling as well. Obviously, former coach was Sarri. So we'll see. I think this is a must-win game, straight up. And I know because they play Sunday, then I think on Wednesday actually, because there's midweek games next week. I think they play Udinese. Johnny corrected me last week. Udinese, the black and white derby. Pretty much two must-win games. Let's be honest, guys. They need to finish the month strong after scoring one goal all month. But Johnny, I say Juve wins the summer Scudetto. You know who wins the Scudetto of excuses? Mr. Antonio Conte. What a funny guy, man. What a funny guy. What did he say after the Champions League loss to PSV? Was it 6-1 or 6-2?
6-2.
6-2.
What did he say, that they have too many new players or something?
Yeah, that's typical Conte excuse.
Look, I'll be real with you. I did not see the game because just for context to the listeners.
Better off. Better off.
Context to the listeners. I got a post at one of the high schools in Montreal that I'm taking over for like until the end of the year as a teacher. So I'm basically been spending the whole week just gathering resources for my students and lesson planning, blah blah blah. And also my day finishes at 3:00 now, so I haven't been able to watch any of the games. And thank God. Yeah, you're right. In the case of Conte, this is just Conte being Conte. It's one of his episodes. A 6-2 loss doesn't have to do with just the players. Strategically, you failed in this game, or they caught on, because it's not just in Champions League. If like they lost the last, we were talking about it right before we started the recording of the show. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 games. Yes, and the losses were okay. Milan was a tough team, right? So it's an acceptable loss. PSV is a very respectable team, but that's a 6-2 loss, despite being down a single player. Like 4 goals came down being down a player, and it was at the 55th minute, I think. It happened, right? So that's just more of an exposure. I feel like that's more of an exposure of your system rather than like the players, the like too many new players. Milan, you lose, what was it, 1-0 they lost to Milan?
What was it? I don't even remember now.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. 2-1, 2-1,
2-1,
2-1.
yeah.
Yeah, you get Allegri basically in the Milan game. It's and now you lose 1-0 to Torino. And like, and that was like just a perfect description of the season, where it's like Lang scores the tying goal, celebrates, takes off his shirt, gets all hyped, and then it's like, oh, by the way, offside.
Did you still get the yellow card for that?
Of course. Yeah.
It doesn't get retracted, right?
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
It's so stupid.
You get a yellow card for foul for
something that didn't
celebrating
happen.
a goal that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's
but I guess
stupid.
regardless, you can take off your shirt.
Yeah, but
even after.
But that rule too. I'm sorry, it's so
it
stupid.
infracts that rule.
I remember reading why they put that in. I think maybe it was Diego Forlan or Cavani, a Uruguayan player. I think he took his shirt off, and it took so long to like get back or something. Or by the time he put it back, it wasn't even on properly. I remember reading the story, why they put in that rule. But yeah, it is pretty ridiculous.
It's dumb. I'm sorry. It just, I don't know. For me, it doesn't make sense. But put the quote back up, Nick. You had it up on the screen there. What does it say? With so many, this is Antonio Conte quoted, right? With so many matches played and so many players signed, in my opinion, bringing in 9 new players was too much. We weren't balanced. Ando. What do you mean you weren't balanced? You brought in how many fucking players? You have the team. It's enough of the excuses. Ando. It's for me again, like Jenny said, it's another one of Conte doing Conte, right? It's never enough. It's too much. It's nothing's aligned the way he wants it. When he loses, there's the excuses. When he wins, it's the praises on him. Listen, I think Antonio Conte is a great manager. I don't mind him as a coach, as a manager, but it's these types of quotes that will forever be pinged on a guy like him. So, it's comical sometimes, I gotta say. But if I was a fan, like I wouldn't want to hear this all the time. Like it's enough of the excuses. Like you cannot lose 6-2, man down, man up, no men against PSV. I'm sorry, respectable or not, you have to be able to do better. I don't know if it's just the run of form that Napoli is on currently, because they have been not, like you said, Jenny, not looking like themselves. Losing 3 of the last 4 in all competitions. Like it's, I know you lose your right hand man in Lukaku early on in the season, and when they work together, it's like bread and butter, right? Or pasta and sugo, right? It's they need each other to win, but it's for me, it's you can't, like, you can't make these excuses. Like if I was a fan, I wouldn't like to take these excuses all the time. So I think it's just potentially a run of form. We know Conte in Europe always seems to struggle, which I honestly don't know why. Like, what's the real reason he always struggles in Europe? Because he's had some decent teams. He has a good team currently, I think, at least on paper. Is it on the pitch that they can't get it going? Like, I don't know. For me, it's a bit crazy, but whatever the case is, you cannot lose 6-2 against PSV in the Champions League. There's Dennis Mann scored against you twice, like Serie A legend, right? So it's you can't let it happen. And listen, hopefully they turn the tide for their sake, because you want to see some good competition out of Napoli, just to make things interesting. But It's they lost against Torino, Johnny. Obviously, like you said, against and it had to be Simeone that scored against them, right? It had to
Scores
be.
against Roma. He scores against Napoli. This guy is just anti-Gianni.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Chi sta giocando contro i?
It's incredible, but listen, I don't know. I don't know what has to happen, but it seems like De Laurentiis still obvious. I mean, I don't think it's blow up the team button time for
Oh, it's
Napoli.
not far from it.
I know you
Far
see
from
some
it.
fans online going crazy. I think that's a bit of an over exaggeration, but if we want to call a spade, like I alluded to earlier, you cannot lose in this fashion. You cannot put out a performance in this fashion and expect your fans and everybody who loves Napoli to accept that, right? It's just not possible if you want to be serious in your quest of something this season. If it be Scudetto aspirations, if it be Champions League progression, if it be Coppa Italia, whatever it is, you cannot put out these types of performances and expect everything to be sunshine and rainbows.